Wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk. It's your boy, Steve Brown, ES, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the. This is the place for sport, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to let's go. I know that you have a workout today, so we're going to get in today and get in some hot topics. What's going on, Miss Majestic Maya? How are you on this Friday?
I'm good. Shout out to my trainer who's going to make me even skinnier before 40 hits on Wednesday.
There it is. Shout out to him, but also shout out to you. The Cancers are in the building. I know you have a big birthday coming up. When all of them are big birthdays, but you have one that society has deemed a big birthday on the 15th. So happy early birthday to you.
Thank you.
And we will, that's a national, international holiday. Miss Majestic Maya is having a birthday. We are going to toast to you. Right now, it's just going to be coffee, but at the appropriate time, we'll toast something a little more powerful and potent and inebriating. Speaking of inebriating, you like that transition? I like that transition.
I love it.
Speaking of inebriating, what's going on with football? It looks like football is under siege. The Big Ten has decided, the first Power 5 conference, they have decided to reduce their football schedule to a conference-only football schedule. It is assumed that a lot of other conferences will follow, including the ACC. The ACC has already made provisions to make sure Notre Dame has enough games to play. So check, we're good there. But this has impacted college football like no other. And so there's one big game that won't be played, Notre Dame. There's several big games, but the one that is personal to me, Notre Dame in Wisconsin in Lambeau Field, will not be played. It looks like we are on a path towards possibly not having college football. I can't even believe I'm saying it. That's a very sobering thought to think that we will have a fall season without college football. And if college doesn't happen, I'm assuming there's going to be a severely altered NFL schedule. This doggone virus, man, I done had enough, man. I done had enough. I'm sorry. I mean, I said all the right things. I remained optimistic in the beginning, but what do you think about this? This Big Ten having just a conference schedule?
I think it's smart. I understand your sentiment. Like, you want football, you want sports, you want all those good things. But
yes, I do.
This virus, it don't care what you like or what you want.
I know.
It's for real. And the thing about it is that people aren't taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my thing is this. I keep telling people who are like, I don't care. I don't want to wear a mask. I want to play football. You go out there and die so I can watch.
You're going to get a front row seat glimpse into how to die. Go out there.
They're taking it back to ancient Rome. You remember those who are about to die salute you and everybody in the crowd went ape shit? Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah. I'm hoping everyone can maintain their social distance and be healthy. I've seen a few people post, I think quite accurately, that all you have to do is tell the public that if you don't wear your mask and you're not responsible and you don't social distance, chances are there will be no football. And I guarantee that everybody, more people will adhere to the guidelines. Yeah, listen, people, wear your mask so we can watch some football. College football. You don't have an issue with college football. Your beef is with NFL. You like football.
But if you want white people to listen, say if you don't wear a mask, a dog dies. Honey, they'll have so many.
You know what? You ain't right.
Last two dies every time you don't wear a mask.
You taking my sad day and you just messing around with me. You're not right. But unfortunately, you absolutely might be right. I do think that, especially in the South, when you think of the SEC and the loyalty there too, if there was a profound statement that said college football and through the actions of the Big Ten and probably the ACC and other conferences, through the actions, people are saying this without saying it. College football is on the brink of being canceled if we don't do something. You see, the Ivy Leagues have moved all of their will not have any fall sports. But that's a different conversation because the income and the revenue that they make from their sports is non-existent. They lose money by
they don't care about that. Their benefactors are alum who own Wall Street, so football is a recreation to them.
Guns and butter. You see that they don't really, the Ivy Leagues being the they here, they don't mind if they don't play fall sports. It's guns and butter. They playing with a whole different situation. They got real wealth. They got money. You know what? Remember that?
They're trying to buy the team people are trying to play for.
And when I say they got money, they got money. Their endowments are so huge that they don't necessarily need a barbarian sport like football in order to keep the lights on, whereas other institutions do. Yeah. And so while it was a big story that the Ivy Leagues have made that decision at such an early stage compared to what the Power 5 conferences are doing, it's still not the same. It's not apples to apples because the Power 5s, we're talking, a B, those are billions of dollars that we're talking about there. That's a real consideration. So we shall see. The Big Ten has I think they've opened the floodgates, and all other Power 5 conferences, they don't have to follow, but think about it. The Big Ten doing that means that all the other schedules are impacted. Any non-conference game that any Big Ten team had scheduled is officially off the schedule, Notre Dame, Wisconsin included. And so it's going to have a domino effect on what the other schedules are going to look like.
Yeah, well, and the commissioner is black, which I love. He put his foot down like, let me tell y'all not going to kill me. I ain't going to have all these deaths on my
not on my watch, player. And I'm not mad at him. We have a question from the comments section. I think it's a great question, a good opportunity to segue. The question is, can we compare and contrast an athletically dependent school versus a Stanford who has proficient teams across several sports, but is also a top 10 university as it pertains to academics? I think that the Stanford thing is the biggest story. The Stanford, for those of you who don't know, had to eliminate 11 sports, and they attributed some of that decision to coronavirus, but they also said that they had already had a shortfall that was making them make some tough decisions. And Stanford's also a great topic for other reasons. Stanford has a black athletic director, Bernard Muir, who I know, who started his career at Notre Dame, great guy, who unfortunately is dealing with this behemoth concept of how to pay for everything. Stanford is for the last 25 years or so. Do I have that written down?
Yeah.
25 years, they won the Director's Cup, which for those of you who don't know, Director's Cup is sort of the pinnacle of that combination of athletics and sports. They won the Director's Cup for having excelled academically, but also put some amazing teams on the playing fields athletically. And so for Stanford, right, the 25-year running champ of the NCAA Directors Cup, to have to eliminate 11 sports, we are in unseen territory. I think a program like Notre Dame benefits from that because Notre Dame would be in that same echelon of having academics and athletics. A Northwestern would benefit from that. But it's safe to say that gold standard of combining athletics and academics is also in jeopardy with the virus and with how do you pay for all of this. And so I don't know if you have any feelings about Stanford, but I was shocked to see 11 sports. And there's some Title IX decisions that had to be made. There's got to be there's diversity decisions that had to be made so they don't face the same backlash that Brown did by eliminating track with all those brothers on the track team.
Was solely that was a combination of race and you can't tell me it's not. Sailing. What black people go sailing? We don't go sailing. You forced us over here on boats.
Yeah, we ain't messing with no boats.
You tell us go get on that boat. We like, the hell?
We ain't wearing boat shoes.
What you trying to send us next? Shit.
This is the closest thing that you're going to get from my black behind on boating. You're going to see me in the bucket hat. And I wore the bucket hat today. It's thematic. I wore the bucket hat today because people making these bucket head decisions and about to eliminate football. But I digress. What do you think about Stanford?
You have to remember Stanford, Notre Dame, Northwestern, these schools still have billion-dollar endowments.
Right.
So it's not like they couldn't have these teams.
Right.
But when you use common sense, which isn't so common to everyone, you have to foreshadow and see, okay, this isn't going to be sustainable. This isn't going to last over X amount of time. You don't know X amount of time because we clearly don't have this coronavirus under control. California, which has more people in a county than New Jersey has in the entire state, is being wiped out because of coronavirus. You have to put lives before recreation and leisure. And right. I think that's the hardest thing that people are coming to grips with because we're such a me society. What I want, I did. Instead of looking at the basics, like, okay, I want to live. I love sports. I love a lot of things like the next person. But if this is going to kill me, I just need to reevaluate a couple of things. And I'm not knocking the sports heads because trust me, like I said, 2 weeks ago, I gave my football breakdown that old cracker ass league banning Colin Kaepernick. But all that being said, it's just like we need to get back to the basics and the fundamentals of what's important in life. It's like, yeah, you can play football, but if you get this virus, there's no guarantee that you'll survive. It's probably a 50-50 chance, but we don't have the resources. We don't have the ventilators. Who's to say that you contracted, you go to the ER, they send you home because they're out of beds. That's what I think the biggest issue is. People are getting so far away from what's really important. So when it infringes on what they like, they got a problem. But shit, y'all been infringing on black people's rights for 400 years, so fuck y'all.
I do agree that you have to be selfless in this situation in the sense that I think you dumb down the magnitude of the problem when you say, oh, well, I'm 25 years old. The likelihood that I will die from this virus is almost non-existent. And I understand if you dumb it down to that, that's about as selfish as you can be because you got to think of the burden that you will have on the healthcare system by just going to the hospital. You think of the potential of infecting other people because this is such a contagious virus. You think about just all of the other aspects.
The basics.
The basics. So I agree with you there, but I'm still holding out. I'm holding out hope because I've decided this week to accept the role of head coach for the East Orange Junior Jaguars Mighty Mike team. And so selfishly, what I'm thinking is that if this domino effect keeps on happening, college is then going to affect NFL, which is going to affect high school. And soon they're going to try to touch my Junior Jaguars. And that's when I'm going to stab somebody. I've been waiting a long time to be in this head coaching seat and influence these young people that, and in all seriousness, I'll say this about just the Pop Warner and Little League and AAU sports programs that are also being affected by this is that if you cancel the college football season, those student athletes are still on full scholarship, still grant aid. They still are on a college campus getting a great education. If you cancel the NFL and NBA season, those are still highly paid professionals that still have their dream being realized. High school, similarly, they've now in New Jersey, you know, if your season is canceled, they've basically created a gap year for you. I am dealing with young people that are dealing with many issues at home. When they come and do conditioning or come to practice, a lot of times that's an escape from horrible circumstances. I had to deal with some players last year that came to games and hadn't eaten. We had to instruct parents, let's make sure they eat. We have to get snacks. And our program is a good program in a situation where I love our support and I love our kids. But we have to remember that domino effect is going to put people in a position where they're stuck in homes where there might be abuse going on. And so while I will never dumb down the conversation, just make it about my health and my likelihood to die. I will say that sports, what we're realizing, sports is more than just an outlet for entertainment. For some kids and for some environments and some communities, it's almost a saving grace. And so that's my only fear, that if this thing leads us to not having an outlet for these kids, that maybe they're not going to make it to the NFL, but those 2 hours out of that situation, out of their house, to allow their mind to be to escape the circumstances that they're in. And that's why I decided to coach a long time ago. I done a lot of bad in my life. Lord knows I done a lot of bad in my life. When I get to them pearly gates, I pray that the powers that be will decide. I hope that the powers that be will decide that I've done enough good with these kids in order to make my home where I want it to be. But that's my only concern with seeing the domino effect.
I get that. But the unfortunate thing is that it's very blanket. Like, everyone is affected, no matter if you're a billionaire or you're on the street corner. Everyone is impacted.
And those same kids are impacted even more, because we looked at the disproportionate impact of certain communities because of health concerns, diabetes and asthma and things that, you know, man, it's we shall see. But not to veer too far off of Stanford. You mentioned the endowment, and Stanford is in the top 10, I think, endowment sizes. They're huge.
Yeah.
You know, you got the Yales, the Harvards, the MITs, Stanford, Notre Dame is up there. But when it came to the endowment, and my man Bernard, they had this big, tall, black, bald head man up there speaking about and protecting this endowment. I was like, boy, this whole thing is all messed up. Now, Bernard's good people. Athletic director Bernard Murrell. Let me give him his respect. And I just call him by his first name. Although I do know him, he deserves that respect because shout out to him. But when it came to the endowment, they said the endowment is, I quote, not an option, because that's reserved for non-athletic scholarships and faculty research. So if you ever had a question about where the power structure is set up at these major institutions like a Stanford, that's your answer. But the 11 sports getting eliminated, I put in my caption, sort of teasing, but not. The plug is officially being cut off because March Madness was already undermined, and now you got the threat of college football not being played. That in terms of a revenue stream for this institution being Stanford, but a lot of institutions are having that same fate, is drastic. And so that's the plug. Know your worth, young brothers, young sisters, young kings, young queens. You're not just a dumb jock on campus. Know your worth, because those 11 programs being eliminated and the conversation about continuing with college football and other sports in the fall is indicative of your worth and your impact on that campus. So make sure you don't let the game use you, use it. Get every resource. They talk about those non-athletic scholarships. Make sure you tap into those. They talk about those faculty research positions. Make sure that you tap into the best that those faculty members have to offer. Don't let them treat you like dumb jocks, because you are the plug, straight up.
And now, since you and I playing the sport, you better make Dean's list.
Amen.
You have no reason to flunk out unless you just
look.
I mean, there's no excuses now. I mean, it's very stressful, but you don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to lift. You don't have to listen to some coach screaming. You may have Zoom calls or whatever, but you're not hitting each other. You're not memorizing plays and all that shit.
Do an internship. Do an internship. The internship that you couldn't do because of your dining hall and all the things that you have to commit to for football, make sure you do it. Travel internationally. Get one of those scholarships and study abroad. If you cannot play college football or whatever sport you play in the fall, if you can't play because of this virus, make sure you tap into the resources that the other students, those non-athletic scholarship students that are on campus that get to study abroad, that get to do the internship throughout the fall because they don't have the level of commitments, that get to do the research assistant position under that highly paid faculty member. Make sure you take advantage of it. Do not waste this time if you indeed cannot play your sport. That's all I have to say about it. Anything else you have? $26.5 billion when you look at Stanford.
Stanford, yeah, their endowment is up there.
Up there.
We're trying to get some of that money too. I put my company all the way on blast. We stay like, you got money. Give it to us.
Look, we got to get into this. I know I'm running low on time. This is my fault. I started late. You know how I am in the morning, especially on a Friday. The sun not even out. I didn't get my inspiration. The brother need the vitamin D in order to get my inspiration. I didn't get it. The sun's not out today. But we have dealt with we've dealt with a lot of things in terms of social activism by way of athletes. But now the NBA is deciding that their players can, in this modified postseason, whatever we're going to call it, can replace the names on the jersey with social justice messages. And here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy B Brown look at that. B Brown ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South, aka Mr. Excessive Celebration, and my girl, Miss Majestic Maya. We are gonna come up with what could be some good social justice messages to replace your name. Because if you're going to replace your name, if you're going to take Singletary off the back of that name, you know how many years you didn't work to put Singletary on the back of that doggone jersey? If you're going to replace it, what are you going to replace it with? Let's come up with some ideas. And please, from our audience members, give us some suggestions. What would be your social justice message? The NBA, and while you're thinking, I'll let everybody give some people some more background. The NBA, along with Chris Paul, who runs, I think, their players union, or whatever the case might be. He's one of the player reps. They gave the players a list of suggestions, and you can imagine Black Lives Matter was on there. I Can't Breathe was on there. They also said that you could use a name that or one of the several victims of some of the police injustice. You could put one of their names on your back, but they said that you could make the choice. And I think they wanted to give them some guidelines because they didn't want to "he hate me" on there. Or
I would do something like, for me, if I could change it up every week, because I like to keep people on their toes. I hate people to assume they know what I'm doing. I would definitely do HBIC, head bitch in charge. I'm over for that. Now. The second week, I would put up James Baldwin, because I think a lot of people outside of this beautiful melanated skin don't have a clue as to who he was or what he was.
Right.
Dynamic person. Angela Davis, Colin Kaepernick. I mean, every week I'd have everybody sick, like, who this bitch thinks she is? The original HBIC. You're going to learn about us Black folk today.
Yes, you will. I think I will put on the back of my jersey. I like this one. Black Don't Crack, my man.
Yeah.
Who is that? I forget. That's my man, the Natural.
To this day.
Till this day. Now you gotta put it. You gotta spell it like he pronounced it now, though.
Yes, phonetically.
Till this day. I might put, I'm assuming somebody is going to, and we're going to get to him, but somebody's going to put the infamous Kanye quote, They might replace George Bush with Donald Trump.
I would put Orange Pig doesn't care about black people.
Doesn't care about black people. I think I would put something like, nah, that's too much. That's sexual innuendo. I was gonna say something like once you go black. That's not.
Well, it's true.
That's too sexually suggestive. I probably put, what would I put? I don't know. I gotta think about that. I like Walt D's. I am not your Negro.
Walter Douglas said, "I am not your Negro." Plain
I like that one. Okay. Yeah, I like that one. Let's think about that. We're gonna come back to it at the very end. What would I put? Let me think about it.
I would put Emmett Till up there too.
Emmett Till.
Because a lot of people just don't know the story behind it and how for years people assumed, you know, it just because he whistled at this old cracked up ass white woman, which wasn't the case. And I mean, when his mother put him in the ground, he looked like God knows what. He didn't even look like he was human.
Right.
So, yeah.
Just so people, and putting the name of someone would hopefully force those who find those athletic, amazing basketball players to be different. Oh, you're different. You're not like the others. I hope that they will cause those same people that are entertained and sometimes fanatic about the players that they like. I hope it would force them to go look up some of those names. My man,
I'm sorry, really quick. Everyone complains about this. The funny thing about white people is that they always, inject themselves into shit that don't belong to them. So maybe this is the perfect opportunity because whenever they get offended, like they get all riled up, like, I don't like this. Maybe you'll go to Google, see why you're upset, and then hopefully it'll change your warped ass mindset. How about that?
And that is a message from Miss Majestic Maya.
And that's
in my deep voice, my voiceover. That is a message from Miss Majestic Maya.
Training is canceled, so we don't. You can.
It's on and popping. Okay, so y'all
shout out to Diamond. Shout out to the trainer. It's a storm coming in the north. For those that don't know, it's a huge storm.
And it's a storm coming in called the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Y'all probably playing with y'all. We ain't playing with y'all. You know what I mean? You ain't playing with y'all. Smack. So keep them coming in. I like these. Because slavery. That's a good one. And so I like both of those from my man Asgard.
I like that one too.
Because slavery and black AF, and you know what the AF stand for?
Black.
My man, Cheeky Black, Chew Food says America's Most Wanted, and he spells America's with 3 Ks. I don't know if the NBA would approve that one. That's a good one. My man Asgard says don't shoot. Greg says, what up, G Harris? My man Greg Harris, man. Yo, man, the fact that I'm gonna keep reading these, but the fact that dudes that I've looked up to, man, for years, my man Greg Harris, his little brother Jeff Harris, I grew up with, but Greg went to St. Thomas. He was a soccer player. Now is a head coach at I think it's Harding, but he's a soccer head coach at a college. The fact that so many people tune in and support us, man, I'm humbled. Like, honestly, humbled, brother. Good to see you on here, Greg. Straight up. He has Black and I'm Proud. I love that one. Y'all keep them coming because I think the NBA players, if there's any opportunity or any reason to engage with their fans and with their people and with their communities, this would be a great time to get suggestions from the people that have perpetually worn their jerseys. I would love to get input, right? Like,
you know what? You could keep it. We can make it very square and say more than an athlete, because a lot of people have these misconceptions that, you got these cunts like Laura Ingraham saying, just shut up and dribble. Like, you couldn't, like, your tax bracket, like what you make LeBron makes in a week, what your annual salaries, what he makes in the year. So you shut the fuck up. Like, you spew lies. You're not very smart. And hopefully, like I said, white people will get a clue and realize we're more to them than just entertainment. Like, we're not here to tap dance for y'all just because y'all ain't got no rhythm. But I digress.
That's not true. You never digress. Come on now. That's what makes you Miss Majestic Maya. That's what we come up with, y'all. Bang, bang. Look, it's hood rules, man. You gotta bring your shooter with you. And certain things I don't say, I know Miss Majestic Mind shall say. That's what she got a Glock because she ready for y'all. So when you come with the nonsense, just know that I got my shooter with me. I might smile, but I sure got a shooter with me.
You know I got your back, Brad. You know I ain't playing with these fucking clowns.
I ain't playing with it. I have to pause for the cause and let everybody know that me and my brother, Mr. Walter Douglas, Big Walt D in the building. We are trying to get people together. We're going to do something for the cause on July 22nd. We're going to have, essentially, it's going to be like a drive-through movie scene. And we're basically going to bring the Inkwell to New Jersey. And it's going to be a completely touchless, hands-off situation. And so stay tuned for the details as we're making that happen.
What's in 2 Wednesdays?
Say again?
The 22nd is in 2 Wednesdays. That's exactly
Wednesdays. Yes, we're gonna be celebrating your birthday still, obviously. Because that just has to happen.
Yeah.
But let's and so we'll give you guys more details. Let's read some more of these. Let me think. Much love for you too, Greg. Commentaries yelling out F the police from downtown. Bang. I like it. Yeah, some of the comments on there, like if you had the right name back there and they have to call you by that name from downtown. I love that. More than an athlete would be a good one. I don't know what that says right there.
F. John Dolan. That's Jim Dolan, not John. Jim Dolan.
But I think John was the dad. I don't know what the
family is the son.
It's his son. But yeah, I think a lot of these messages should reflect the community. It's our opportunity to speak through these young brothers that because of the resources poured into them. Back to my statement about my little league football program, right? That's my only fear is that, man, I'll tell you, boy, football is the outlet for some of these people, some of these young people to escape the tragedies and of the situation that they're in. But these same communities pour love into these basketball players. And I hope that the basketball players will listen intently to what the fans, especially fans that look like them, that don't have the platform, that don't have white America's ear to listen. The fans that have to endure people saying, slavery was so long ago, get over it. It's an equal playing field. Pull yourself up out of the bootstraps. If
you don't have boots, how are you going to pull up something that you don't have? Slavery ended technically how many years ago, but we're still feeling the effects. You don't tell Jewish people, fuck the Holocaust, okay?
I.e. the Deshaun Jackson statement, which I thought he was out of line for making the statement itself.
Oh, yeah.
And spewing those thoughts. But look how people rallied behind the opposition to that statement. And rightly so. But it just seems as though when the black and brown folks say, look, man, this is going on, it would take the MVP, the camera phone. It takes the MVP for y'all to create a George Floyd moment. If you didn't see it with your own two eyes, you probably would have said, well, he probably did something to warrant that. You probably would have done what everyone seems to do when there's one of these cases and have an all-out investigation about his background. You would have told me how he got suspended from the 2nd grade because he put glue on the teacher's seat, or some asinine connection between a man's death and the reason behind it.
Well,
but when it came to Deshaun Jackson statement, honey, they was up in arms. And we had an example. What's the racist receiver who played for them?
Riley Cooper, where he said, I'll go up there and get all them niggas. Really? Now, remember on the team, Mike Vick was the quarterback. And this man did serve federal time for the whole dog ring or whatever. Shout out to dogs. I love dogs just like the next person. But
me too. My bad. Sorry. I digress.
I love your dogs too, and the Kappas. Just like this man, literally, he served 36 months for dog ring, and black people are being murdered and their killers are not being brought to justice because of their occupation, I got a serious problem with that. And people will justify, well, he had a counterfeit $20. Were you like, if there's always some explanation or some justification for some bullshit white people do to do some sort of harm to us.
Right.
Digress for a moment. Black on black crime. What the fuck is that? That is the dumbest shit I ever heard. That's like saying tuna fish. So you're saying fish. It's the same. What does that have to do with anything? White people kill white people. Black people kill black people. It doesn't.
Crime is proximity. Crime is generally about proximity, especially violent crime. Right. It's about
we don't talk about when they go into movie theaters and he's the Joker and he starts wetting up, killing people all over the place, and he's playing like he's psychotic. Bitch, please get out of here. Or when Anna Lanza, that fucking wackadoo who couldn't even sit in a chair to get a haircut because he was so mentally just off, goes into a school and literally wets it up. The school was horrific. You murdered 21 kids, children. The oldest child was 7. And you killed 6 administrators and teachers and adults. And you're such a pussy, you put a bullet in your head and they make every justification. Oh, he has mental health issues. Like there was something wrong. What? Stop justifying the bullshit. White people, get out of our business. Because y'all black on black crime. So basically, you're trying to justify your reason for trying to kill us. So you're saying because you guys kill each other, we can kill you too. When you say black on black crime, that's exactly what it means. So shut the fuck up and mind your business. How about you write the system that you benefit from so we don't have to kill each other?
I am going to share. I'm going to try to at least. I'm going to share something with everyone in the comments. I'm going to try to at least. Maybe I'll do it after the fact. But I got to see the NPR through line piece with brother Khalil Muhammad, who talked about the history of policing in this country and how it all started with basically people trying to manage and slaves. Yeah, slave catchers. And how that then progressed into where we are with policing in this country. And so I only say that here because I've been watching. My Facebook network is pretty eclectic, pretty diverse. I've got people from all different political ideologies because of football. Sports does bring people together. And so because people know me, Notre Dame folk might know me because of my time there on the football team. I've got people from all political ideologies, but I've seen some of the folks who, and I'll say friends, I don't think that people who disagree with me ideologically on the political spectrum necessarily have to be enemies. Now, there are some enemies, but there are some white brethren who believe politically differently than I do along their politics. And I've seen some of those people who I think are smart people post the statistical analysis of the crimes in Chicago, black on black crime, and the statistical analysis of New York's recent statistics on crimes, and talk about black on black crime as an answer and sort of being suggestive that where are Black Lives Matters when these situations occur. And here's 2 things. First, as Black leaders, and I think that we all being in positions that we are and having the opportunities that we have should all qualify ourselves as Black leaders. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. Mm-hmm. We can address the atrocities of the injustices of the penal and criminal system, judicial system, while also calling out our kinfolk and saying, look, we got to do better. We can do both. And Black Lives Matter doesn't necessarily need to be at the helm of that discussion. We have those discussions behind closed doors, at our barbecues, in our own home. And the second thing is it's a false equivalency. Stop making those two the same, because someone takes in, an oath to protect and serve. They're given the tools. A part of their uniform is their weapon. So to think that that person and just someone down the street should be compared to one another when it comes to taking Black lives is a false equivalency. Stop doing it. It's disingenuous, and it undermines your position. Stop doing it, because you're insulting our intelligence as well.
Well, they don't want Black. First of all of these police supporters do not want all cops to be painted with a broad brush. But when it comes to Black people, it's justified. Like, what the fuck? You cannot have it both ways. First and foremost, I did not choose to be born Black. That was a blessing. Because you see, Chick is almost 40 and I can still snag everybody in your family.
Watch out now. Get them.
Secondly, okay, your job, no matter what, you chose to become a police officer. I get it, it's dangerous, whatever. That's what you chose to do. Now, if you're incompetent, scared, bitching, don't know what you're doing, maybe that's not the right occupation for you.
Right.
Third of all, you're telling by these white people saying, oh, Black Lives Matter should be marching for the kids that are being killed, blah, 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 blah. Hold on a second. That's like going into a Susan G. Komen event, which is for breast cancer, as an AIDS patient saying, hey, guys, you should be coming over to our rally too, okay? And you should be supporting us because this is what we, whoa. Apples, oranges. We're fighting for this. That still does not take away from the fact that your people dressed in blue should stop killing us.
Right.
That's not it. So, like I said, I think it's a perception in white America that all Black people are the same. We're a homogenous group. We all think alike. We all look alike, apparently. And we have the same ideals. And I'm just like, that's not it. Because we don't do that to them, but they do it to us, and it's justified. Like, I'm so over, this is why I said last week, the whole appeasement and the whole get passing and being nice to them. Fuck being nice to them. The reason why we're in the situation we're in now is because we have been nice to them for so long. Wink, wink, your boy Chris Cooper, but I'm going to fall back on that one till you bring him up.
Oh, we got to go. Because I said, look, let me think about how I teed it up. I don't know the exact words I used, but I talked about the reduction in athletics at Stanford. I talked about, what else did I talk about? Reduction in, I can't think how I teed it up. I got to think quickly. What else got reduced? I talked about the increase in Pat Mahomes' pockets because that brother got paid. And we're going to talk about one of the other increases here shortly. But then I said our uncle, who happens to be named Tom, has stayed the same. And what do I mean by that? Because I don't just throw around Uncle Tom lightly. So let me get into this, because I know Maya and I we normally are on different sides of this particular fight, so this should be interesting. Our uncle, Tom, happened to stay the same. Tom is the same, and the first Tom that I want to talk about is none other than, you ain't gotta be a gold digger. I ain't saying she a gold digger. But she ain't messing with no broke figure. None other than Kanye. AKA the People's Champ, AKA presidential candidate Kanye West. Come on now, let's go with it. He has disassociated himself with Trump. I thought you would like that. Come on now, give Kanye his props. He's finally disassociated himself with
when
Trump.
I cancel you, I can't. I don't give a shit. I don't care if he went to my grandmother's house and bought her a Subaru Forester. That's her dream car. I don't give a shit what you gave my grandmother. I still don't like you because you ain't shit. If that ain't a coon ass, whatever. Fuck Kanye.
Okay, so are you saying, man, I don't normally ask people this, but I just want to make sure that I hear what you're saying. Are you saying that in November, on that particular Tuesday, is it unlikely for you to vote for Kanye? Am I hearing you correctly without asking you to divulge your vote, because that's your vote? Are you unlikely to vote for Kanye? Is that what you're saying?
I would vote for him if I was laying up dead in my casket, someone took my dead hand and filled in the fucking bubble with some pencil. That's when he get my vote. And I'm going to go after the funeral director because he wrong.
Right. Don't give up my vote. Look, Kanye, I believe in transformation. I don't know if Kanye is transformed, but I did like that he disassociated himself with Trump. I think that Kanye is realizing that he was used in a scheme. But it takes a lot of people a long time to realize that. Look, it's a lot of athletes that never realize how they've been used. When I go and I speak to young athletes, I'm saying, use the game, don't let it use you. A lot of them look at me bewildered because they're thinking, I've got all of these people who have told me I'm the best thing since sliced bread. What do you mean? They're not using me. They don't understand that they're a pawn in this chessboard, on this chessboard, where the power pieces are making all the decisions. They don't understand that. And I think Kanye just was slow to recognition in the sense that he was being used. He disassociated himself. We got a black man on the ballot. Look, he's not going to get my vote, but I'm saying that's saying something. If he files the correct paperwork to get on the ballot, which is still to be determined, we'd have a black man on the ballot. Is that not a good thing? Come on now. That's Kanye.
I don't give a shit that he's black. If, like you quoted gold digger, now he married a gold digger. I don't give a shit when anyone says, oh my God, Kim had money. Let me tell you something. If Kanye was still Kanye with his crooked ass mouth back in Chicago, she wouldn't look twice at his goofy ass.
That time.
Okay? Period. So all don't give me he's a hypocrite. And he really got mental health issues, and he's a fucking clown. He does all this for publicity, and he ain't been right since Donda passed away. Yeah, after his mother died, he went to hell in a handbasket. But that still doesn't give this fucking idiot the right to say slavery was a choice. Yeah, I'm gonna wake up and I want to be put in shackles. I want to be raped in front of my husband by my master. I want to have my ass kicked by the master's kids. I want to be spat on and be fed scraps by the master's wife. Okay? I want to be in shitty conditions. I want to sleep on the fucking dirty floor. Okay? Right. I want to endure all of this hardship because I choose to. Man, fuck him and all he represents. He ain't shit.
Well, to be fair, we'll get off Kanye but to be fair, I think he was saying that as a black community, the way we allow slavery to impact our current day, that's what he was saying was a choice. And I still disagree with that because he is an example of mental health. He's an example of mental health issue. And I think that there are connections, psychological connections that still link to slavery and Jim Crow and all the injustices. So I think he was wrong there. But I will say that that's what he was saying. Inaccurately, but that's what he was trying to say. But Kanye then gives us an opportunity to talk about Christian Cooper. And Christian Cooper has decided not to be cooperative in the charges filed against Amy Cooper, who is also known as the model Karen. And that's the lady who called the police on the bird watcher. The bird watcher was a black man by the name of Christian Cooper. The person who played victim and called the police, called her police that are charged to protect her in Central Park. Her name is Amy Cooper, has been fired, and Christian Cooper says he feels as though she's endured enough and is not going to be cooperative in filing charges against Amy Cooper. What do you think about that? Because we're still in that category. My uncle, whose name happens to be Tom, stayed the same. What do you think about that?
First of all, we don't need him to want to pursue anything because there's enough video evidence that supports the fact that she filed a false claim. You as an attorney can attest to that. Everything she said, he recorded it. So I'm like, well, first of all, we don't need you, bird watcher. Secondly, this is the shit that pisses me off. She suffered enough. Says who? Do you know how many Black men have done things in their teens and 20s and are still reaping? They're still reaping the effects of something that shouldn't have impacted them more than a day.
Right.
She suffered enough. Fuck that bitch. You put your foot on her neck. She got her dog back. Okay, the dog that she was fucking choking in the video. She's fucking killing Muppy over there. It's fucking choking him. She gets the dog back. Okay. She loses her job. She can get another job. Why do we let our feet up off these people? They don't do that to us. They don't offer us the same kind of courtesy. If we did some shit in second grade, that shit's going to follow us to the grave. They do something. Oh, let's back up. I ain't turning no other cheek because you ain't hitting the other cheek. When you down, I'm going to stomp on you till you're fucking out for the count. I want you to suffer.
If I was to speak to Christian Cooper and he decided not to be cooperative because he was an apologist for her behavior, I would agree with you. But I think because Christian Cooper is a true abolitionist when it comes to police, he wants to get rid of police. I think he is choosing not to cooperate because of his feelings about the judicial system and being an abolitionist about the police. I think, and that's what he is cited. And so I respect that he's making that decision. Now, ironically, the man's first name is Christian. And I know you about to get upset. I know, but I'm saying as a Christian, you are supposed to forgive. And so Christian Cooper might just be Christian-like and forgiving this woman. Why don't you think that could be a sufficient Christian choice?
Hold up.
Not Christian.
Now, Christian meaning follower of Christ.
Amen.
Now,
preach, my sister.
If you knew the story of Jesus, he was not meek.
He was not.
He called people out when they were selling shit in the temple in his father's house. He was turning over tables because he was pissed.
As young as 12 years old, he was not meek. The brother was
okay.
Yes, and I say brother.
Reader, if you follow Christianity,
absolutely.
So that whole being demure and soft, that's a man-made shit. Plain and simple. Let me tell you something. You're not gonna fucking try. She almost got that man killed. Literally. Right. Could you imagine if you got some raging fucking roid rage NYPD police officer from Staten Island who didn't know his asshole from his appetite, was coming off of a bad day?
I wish that was hypothetical, but I see it all too well. I see it. I see what you're describing.
Because he hears big African-American man and he's mad because his girlfriend was fucking some black dude that he cheated on her. She cheated on him with. He's got all this in his fucking head. He shows up. Chris Cooper is a big guy. He pulls a gun, shoots him, bam. Now the bird watching dead. We watching him instead of him watching birds. Seriously?
Yeah, you're right. I'm only laughing because you keep referring to him as the bird watcher, but you are right. That is the risk that is in that call. You're right.
Do not mistake Christianity for being like on some old kumbaya shit. That's not true.
I think you converted me on this. You converted me on this.
My thing is this: vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Okay, you could. I'm gonna sit back and watch you do your dirt, but that does not give people the right to mistreat me, and I sit back and take it. Those Amen. Two totally different streams of thought. And he on some old other shit. He could do whatever he want to, because I was pumping my fist for him, but now I'm looking at him like, really, dude? I want to call it a violent society and have you kicked out because you were displaced.
We knew he was on some other ish. It's a black man who's a bird watcher. Come on now. Like he watches birds. But all right.
Wait. This is gonna be on my petty shit. We can call all you dudes bird watchers because I see a lot of them chicks on your arms, okay? No.
Fellas, stand up for us here. We shall not be described as bird watchers. I shall not allow us to be described as bird watchers. The bird, man, come on. Hey, Christian. Hey, man, it's your choice to make, but we shall see how this plays out. Look, all right, so that brings us to, because we're still in the category of my uncle, comma, Tom has stayed the same. When we think of Tom, we normally think of someone that probably was named legally Thomas. Well, not black folk. We'll name you Tommy. You know what I'm saying? We'll straight up put
call you T. My dude T.
But guess what? It doesn't stop there. How about my man Tomas? Yeah, you know what I'm about to get into. Goya bean eating. You remember that?
Honey, thank God I bought my adobo last year, and it's good. It has a shelf life for 3 years. I fucking with Goya.
Tomas, my uncle Tomas. Tomas said that he basically, Tomas stepped to the plate for his man Donald J. Trump, who has been described by, the Congressman Castro, one of the twins, described him as the most anti-Latino president in American history. That's tough to say that, man, because that's tough to say. He's called him the most anti-Latino president in our history. But Uncle Tomas from the Goya bean family is defending President Trump. What do you think about that? I found that to be just mind-blowing, considering Trump calling Mexicans rapists and killers. I thought that was mind-blowing. And I think this particular, what's his name? Let me call him by his real name. I couldn't pronounce it. That's why I called him Tio Tomas. What is his name? Robert Unanui. And that's a New Jersey-based company. So what do you think about that before we get into our last topic, which is the HBCUs? We coming home with Bronny, y'all. But anyway, before we get to Bronny, what do you think about Tomas?
First, shout out to Randy Watson. He said Tio, which is Spanish for uncle. First, I don't know the Hispanic term for sellout or what is said in the
you just
Latino.
Put an O at the end. Selauto. That's how black people try to create every word. We try to make it Spanish. I don't know what sellout is either, but we're gonna say Tio Tomas.
He is that. How can this man? I don't understand. It's not even dog whistle at this point. He's called people that look like you rapists, killers. He has put people that look like you and your sister, your mother, your brothers, your sister in cages. They don't even know the whole concentration camp, because that's what it is. The camps are so discombobulated. People don't know, like they don't know where their kids are. They can't even they're matching up the wrong people. People are like, that's not my kid. I mean, It is awful. And for you to sit back and sell your soul, because that's essentially what he's doing. He's selling his soul for a couple of dollars. Like, you're going to burn in hell. You, like earlier in the show, you said you were concerned about, getting to the pearly white gates. It ain't no gates for him, because he ain't shit. Like, how could you literally think that's okay? He
is our Tio Tomas. That's how he could think it's okay. And you get the last word on this. I gotta get to Bronny. I gotta get to the HBCUs. I gotta get to Bronny before we get out of here. What do you think? You get the last word on this segment. Our uncle, Tom, has remained the same. We finish up with Tio Tomas. You get the last word. What do you say?
If I saw him walking down the street, I'd take my fucking Goya can of black beans and throw him and hit him right upside his dumb ass head.
I love all the hashtags. Goya away. They got so many hashtags. Look, baby, you ain't just gonna get away with. He called him what?
Uncle Juan.
Look, man.
We petty over here. Don't come for I love the pettiness, because as much as we don't want, as much as we don't want to be representatives of the entire race, We are. That is just something that comes with being Black, Hispanic, a person of color, someone who does not burn in the sun. That is something we have to deal with. But I'm not doing that to my people. But I don't give a shit what happens. You're not going to play me or my people out. And I'm not going to sit back and be like, yes, master. Yes, master. Fuck that, because my people going to deal with me, and I don't want those repercussions.
And his people are dealing with him. And I think that, they should. And the Castro twin is just one of the people, but he's gotten quite the backlash over the last 24 hours. And I like Goya Beans, man. I ain't gonna lie, I like him. I get
the Black Eyed Peas. I'm like, damn, I can't find no damn Black Eyed Peas. They all Goya. I ain't fucking with Goya.
But it gives you a reason. We are in the cancellation culture, man. So, like you said, once you turn Kanye off, you have turned him off. And once people decide that they're gonna find another alternative to Goya Beans, they're gonna find another alternative. So, I don't know why people would hitch their future, hitch their company, hitch their reputation to Donald J. Trump right now. It is just a train moving in the wrong direction. If you look at the numbers climbing of cases, coronavirus cases, and you compare them when you do the adjustments for population, you compare what we are doing in this country or lack thereof in our response to this pandemic to other countries. I wouldn't hitch anything to that wagon, because it's a wagon going in the wrong direction.
Who are you telling?
I started talking about the things that improve. Patrick Mahomes' pockets. You saw that big number. What do you think about that deal? We could get in and get out. I think he deserved every penny of it. Al B. Sure.
Oh, my ex. Let me tell you something. Al back in the 80s could have smashed any and everyone.
He's light skinned. He still got the light skin impact. Al B. Sure. Chico DeBarge.
He in jail.
Drake. All the light skinned folk. Chico DeBarge in jail.
Yeah, he got arrested again.
Taxes?
No, like I think he either killed someone or beat somebody up. Some sort of assault. Something. It's for real.
I didn't know that. So let's take Chico DeBarge out, and let's put what other light-skinned famous dude that we always talk about?
A light bright?
Light. I'm talking about real light skin.
Christopher Williams looked like he on crack. He used to be fine.
Rick Fox.
Rick Fox fine.
El DeBarge, he put all El DeBarge.
He on drugs too.
Who else? You would think, what's my man name from Bones? Bone Thug and Harmony. It was the one.
Busy Bone.
Busy Bone. You had, y'all light-skinned brothers been done for a long time. So I can't even think of no names right now, because Dark been in for a minute, y'all.
Shamar Moore. That's good. Shamar Moore.
Shamar Moore is a good one. What's the other brother name? Who's on all of the shows? What's his name? My wife loves him. I can't think of the dude name.
He was on all the shows.
He's on a lot of the shows now. Shamar Moore. This our generation's version of Shamar Moore is I can't think of his name.
Yeah, what show? If you tell me the show, it would come.
My pop culture memory is non-existent. I don't remember that stuff. My mind is on other stuff. I don't remember his name. Bojo. Kojo. What's his name?
Boris Kojo.
He
ain't light. That he ain't team light skin. He team fine as fuck. He ain't light though. He's not light.
He was at the party. All these light-skinned brothers had a party when they saw Patrick Mahomes' contract. He was at the light-skinned party. They had a big old celebration for Patrick Mahomes because the brother got paid. Paid. Jesse Williams. I like that one. That's a good one.
Jesse Williams. He down for the call. Y'all gonna fall back on Jesse.
They still all team light-skinned. Boris Kojo, all of them. They all had a big old party because of Patrick Mahomes. They had a barbecue that none of us dark brothers were invited to because they had a light-skin celebration because Mahomes got paid. Y'all been saying for the last decade, maybe 2 decades, that the light-skinned brothers have faded away. But now here you come with my man. Oh, you crazy. Oh, this is hilarious.
As long as
look at what Cheeky Black put. He put Shannon Stevens. That's messed up.
Wait, that's wrong. As long as you have these black men messing around, mixing with these white women, you're gonna keep on producing these Drake-looking kids. Don't think that their genes are weak.
Once you go black, that might be the one on the back of the jersey. Once you go black, I think I might go with it. You just brought, there's so many different ways you could use it. The double entendre. Once you go black could mean once you go Black Lives Matter, you don't go back to the injustices, or it could be once you go black.
You go black, you start smoking crack because they stress you out. No, so I'm just playing. You know I love my brethren.
All of these light-skinned brothers had a celebration on behalf of Patrick Mahomes. They did light-skinned things. they had
but they sang sad songs.
They played Trey songs. They had beauticians come and braid hair. They didn't play tunk. They didn't play spades. They played like I don't know, bridge or something. They didn't play dominoes. They don't do stuff like that. They didn't sip on Hennessy. They had Spritzer. But it was a big old celebration.
You're so disrespectful.
They had a big celebration in honor of Patrick Mahomes and his well-earned contract. What do you think about this brother getting paid, man? He deserved to get paid. I hope on behalf of the dark-skinned brothers, because we're going to have our celebration in a few years when Lamar Jackson is up. But I digress.
Oh, my God.
I digress.
First of all,
what's Sierra's Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson, I know you're going to get paid, but they still going to celebrate. The light-skinned brothers still have when Lamar Jackson gets paid.
Good hair. Russell Wilson is team good hair. And he went white, found out it wasn't right, and went black.
Let me show y'all good hair right there. That's stuff that, yeah. Now y'all know I wear a hat every week. So what do you think about this brother getting paid $500 million? And you see that people have complained about it. They have talked about, they've talked about all the other things that people could do with their money. And I don't want to make it about race, but I am going to make it about race. When we look at
and Tom Brady was making all that money.
Ain't nobody complain. When CEOs come out with their pay structure and they got so much money and figuring out creative ways to pay themselves a bonus, no one talks about the world hunger that can be
cut
paid.
The workforce. Yeah.
So what do you think about him getting paid? I thought he deserved it. I love that it's a long-term contract. I hope it's precedent for other brothers. It's the reason why I have the most amazing athletes that I know. Big Deuce and Boomer, my boys. It's the reason I have them under center because they protect the quarterback and obviously they pay him. And
you made 2 team light skin members.
Nah, you know what? Boomer closer to me. But you're right. My man, Big Deuce. My namesake was at the party. That's how I know. I intercepted the invitation. They sent my son the invitation. But I got parental controls over all of that. So that's how I know about the light-skinned barbecue that they had on behalf of Patrick Mahomes. I do know. I absolutely do know. But I love the fact that this brother got paid, man. And so I shout out to him, man. He's an amazing athlete, an amazing leader.
Young guy, marrying the white chick. He's going to produce some more team light-skinned kids. But, I mean, you know me.
You never know.
About get all the money you can from these white pockets. I just get that guap, get it all.
Get the guap.
It's there.
And it goes to show you, even if you did the paper bag test, it still doesn't matter. If you have a drop of black in you, the response to his contract.
His dad is Dominican. He's not African American.
I know he's a baseball player. He's of the diaspora. He's of the diaspora. But it goes to show you that his contract being questioned and it don't matter how light skinned you are. When you're black, you are absolutely black. So I do like that the moment, the Black Lives Matter moment, where we are all taking recognition of the injustices are forcing some of those mothers, because those mothers are having children that are going to face some of those same injustices if we don't clean up our act in America. I love that those mothers are participating in being allies. So they're not just laying down with the brothers, they're standing up for the brothers. And if you're not, you're a part of the problem. Having said that, we got to get into the last segment. And with this, we shall be done. It started off, the news that Howard Homecoming was going to be canceled. It shook me to my core. How you going to cancel Howard Homecoming?
Because they don't want people to die.
True.
So
True. But at the same time, it's like Howard Homecoming, right? It's the thing for us, for Black folk. Although I've never gone, I plan to go one day.
Hold on a second. Wait. Hold on. I just want to pull up a comment because I just replied to this message. Tara Bear said, dark-skinned women need to be celebrating. Michaela Cole's getting that money from HBO. She's a phenomenal actress. Hold on a second, sweetie. So me being Maya, I replied, who's to say we aren't? We're talking about Black men right now, okay? Read the room and have several seats. We're not talking about
Tara's an absolute ally. She is one. I will say she's been consistent.
I don't care. Read the room. What her statement implies that me as a Black woman or the Black women listeners aren't supporting her. You don't know our threads. You don't know our reads. This is just shit I'm talking about. How white people always interject.
Tara's black. She's very fair skinned, but she is Black. She's
Tara, sweetie, read the room.
I don't know.
We're talking about Black men right now. We didn't talk about Michaela. Michaela's entertainment. We're doing sports today. Don't do that.
I did post Michaela on my page, and I do celebrate that contract, and I do think it shows that you have to know your worth. To your point, we have talked about it. We have celebrated it. But Tara is also not only a Black woman, but she has been an absolute ally. So I love that you guys had an exchange, but she has been an absolute. When you go to, and you can't just tell by someone's page, but she has been on the front lines of making sure that Black folk and white folk take notice of the injustices that some of our brothers and sisters have faced. So I will admit,
we are talking about sports right now. Yes, we discussed entertainment and pop culture. That comment wasn't necessary. Period.
We shall talk about that another time. How about that? Because we gotta come home. We gotta come home with Bronny. LeBron James, who we know to be,
I love him,
the most remarkable athlete of our time, I would say, of our generation, or of this current generation, because my generation is Michael Jordan, and has been very socially active. His son is now, if you look at the sports betting page, the sports book has handicapped North Carolina Central. Is it NC Central? North Carolina Central as the favorite to land the services and the amazing abilities and the amazing aptitude as a student of Bronny James. And so if that happens, our conversation of HBCUs versus PWIs, it's a whole different conversation if Bronny James chooses to go to an HBCU versus a PWI, because number 2 on that list is Duke. So you got North Carolina Central, and this is just a sports book that's betting on it. North Carolina Central was the first school to offer him, and Duke being the second school. Think about that. North Carolina Central being over Duke as the probable landing place for Bronny James. This could be seismic shift in that debate of PWIs versus HBCUs. Let's come home with Bronny James. Is this the moment the HBCUs have been waiting for? Because you got NC Central, number 1. Then you have Duke. Then you have Howard as the number 3 probable landing spot. Then you have North Carolina A&T as the 4th potential landing spot. Bronny James, 3 out of the 4 possible landing spots are HBCUs. What does that mean for this discussion of PWIs or HBCUs for our top athletes, the 4 stars and the 5 stars? Bring it home. Let's take it home with Bronny. Bronny to save the day. What's up?
Honey, let me tell you something. You think when Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990, we were cutting up. This gonna be on some other level shit. They be like, Corona, we got masks. We gonna cut up in Durham. Do you hear me? That will literally change the game. The greatest basketball player of this era, his son, who could probably be just as good, if not better, okay, than his daddy, going to this all-black school 10 minutes away from Duke. Shit, I'm about to have me some NCCU shirts up in my house. I'm about to be, honey, please. That'll be that's a gift from God. That's a gift from the heavens above. That would be amazing. And I'm here for all of it.
All right, so I got a different take on it. Before I do, I see Tara says, sorry, I was not trying to take away from the black men or sports. I just love Michaela, and I wanted to note the win for a black woman because they tend to get recognized the least. Did not mean for my comment to come off as taking away from anyone else. I knew that was going to be the resolution there because she's dope. She's really dope.
I don't have any issue. She said her piece, I said mine. We're good.
Yeah. I will say this about Bronny James. I don't know if I'm celebrating it. Because here's my thing. I don't think it's going to be a celebratory moment like that. Because here's my thing, and this is where we can't get lost. Because the devil's in the details with this. And here's what I mean by that. Yes, it'll be cool, but you got 2 people, well 3. You've got Mikey Williams, who will be a sophomore. He's actually in LeBron James' class from San Diego. If he made the decision to go to HBCU, it'd be a big deal. Yeah. You had Maker, who's decided to go to Howard. We talked about that last week, but he's a 7-foot tall center. And now you talk about Bronny James. Of those 3 people, those aren't 3 athletes. Those aren't three names that really need the college experience. They could go to Valley Tech Central University and it wouldn't matter. Bronny James has been on the NBA radar since he came out the womb. Before he got a smack on the butt from the doctor, the NBA scouts already had him on the radar. So it's not as though he really needs the college experience. What I want to see, and then Maker, I said at 7 feet tall because you can't teach height. He's fine. He can go anywhere. Mikey Williams has been a household name since he was 7th grade. The man's got, 2 million Instagram followers. He's probably got just as much NBA in conversation with NBA coaches as he does AAU coaches. And so I think it's going to take someone that needs the college experience, needs the platform in order to enhance their chances to make it to the NBA before it can be a seismic shift. It doesn't matter where Bronny James goes. And this is the last part. And this is why I don't want us to over-celebrate this. Bronny James is the beneficiary of the type of money that the perks that a Division I program can offer are a step down to the perks that Bronny James has on a daily basis. Most brothers from South Florida, most brothers from South Central, most brothers from South Bend, any South Orange, brothers from communities, urban communities that look at those perks with big rosy eyes because it's the first time they got to fly on a charter jet. It's the first time that people just gave them a whole bunch of gear and they walk around and see these buildings on a beautiful campus. And they not making that sacrifice. And so I think that in order to make the position more of a cultural shift, it has to be beyond just these untouchable names like Bronny James, Mikey Williams, and a 7-footer Maker. That's just my opinion on it. I don't know. I don't think it's
disagree.
A celebration.
I completely disagree. And the reason being, we always talk about economics, financial impacts. Now, LeBron James Jr., not only does he benefit from financial resources, genetics. His father is literally like a freak of nature. Right. He's big. He can do it all. And everyone knows I love me some LeBron. But the mere fact that someone could say, hey, LeBron James' son went to my school, you know LeBron going to be writing checks. Okay? He's going to be building facilities, the pavilion and stuff like that. Absolutely. So you think that money coming from that man is not going to benefit and other people's children, say like Chris Paul's children or other basketball players now.
Right.
I'm talking Zion's not playing in the NBA.
Nah, he's going. Zion's got another year.
WNBA. Zion can play in the WNBA if that's what she chooses to do. No, I'm being serious. If that's what she chooses.
I don't think she plays, and I'm going to give her the pronoun that she's asked for. I don't think she even plays basketball. I think Zaya has decided not to involve herself in basketball. But I'll say this.
I'm just talking about the financial.
I agree. But I think if LeBron James has been moved by things beyond just sports, I think LeBron James is potentially writing those checks anyway. And so I say here, my man Flo says, B, it has to, and you know my eyes are bad.
It has to start with guys like Bronny. It will make the experience better for the one who comes behind them. You mean one who comes?
Maybe. Look at all of these sports being cut. I mean, and these are on PWI campuses that have enjoyed the traditional revenues of big-time college sports, and it's been not even a full academic year, right? We have two parts. We have the spring semester of last year and potentially the fall semester of this year. And still, programs are in jeopardy. Now, you compare that to HBCUs that haven't had the revenue streams, that don't have the ticket sales, the broadcasting revenue, the university funding, the philanthropy coming from boosters, the endowment to support it. You gonna look, it is what it is. I hope that it gets to that point, but I'm not sure that Bronny is the savior because his experience is different.
Start somewhere. You have to start. It's even better that he doesn't need the money. That's even better. That's my thing is this. Why would you send your child to Duke? First of all, that is another $1 billion endowment school.
Right.
Billions, add S to that. They have a shit ton of money. Why would you send him to the Cameron Crazies where they drop N-bombs like it's going out of style?
Yeah.
Mike Krzyzewski, he was coached under Bobby Knight. I question his anything because if you coached under that raven racist piece of shit, something wrong with you upstairs. Look at Isaiah Thomas. See, he ain't right upstairs. Who was he coached under? Bob Knight. Anyway, all I'm saying is this would be huge for a black athlete with his black ass wife, Savannah, with a black ass kids going to a black ass school. Right. That would be cool. That would show other young black men and women, shit, LeBron's son going to UNC. I'm about to be right up there too. I'm about to get that James money. I don't see anything wrong. Nothing wrong with being a trailblazer.
My man Bazemore, what's up, Frat? He says his daddy didn't need the basketball college experience, but the NBA won't let Bronny come in now. I'll say this about LeBron. If LeBron did choose to go to college, LeBron wasn't going to HBCU. You know why? Because LeBron was changing the dynamic of his family. He was the first generation in that tax bracket, not the second generation in that tax bracket. And it makes a difference. It really does. It just does. And to answer your question, why would I want my son on a Duke's campus? Yeah, I want him to experience that, the Cameron Crazies, that environment that they have created in college basketball, even for one season. If he's a one and done player, I want him to experience that. that was my challenge to the HBCU supporters who saying that our athletes should make that decision. I said that. I said the experience to be, and I'll speak about my own because I don't know LeBron. I don't know Bronny well enough to speak on. I'll speak about my own experience. When I talked to HBCU graduates who played for FAMU, who played for Bethune, when I was coming out, they were like, "Man, you got to go take that opportunity to play at a university like Notre Dame." And I'm happy I got to experience what that felt like. To be in a stadium of 100,000 people down in Tennessee or over at University of Michigan. And so I just think that all the work that you put in, I love that we are so woke as a people that we're saying our athletes need to make that decision. But if that's the case, then we've got to make it a comparable experience. And we've got a lot of work to do to make that experience comparable. For a one and done person like Bronny James or like a Mikey Williams or Maker who's 7 foot tall, I guess it doesn't matter because you're only going to be there for a few months anyway. But that experience to play in front of, and I'm just sticking with the Duke example, to play in front of the Cameron Crazies is a once in a lifetime experience. And so I see that, my man Cheeky Black says,
nigga ain't gonna be a once in a lifetime experience, and he's gonna counter that all day, every day on that Duke's campus.
Yeah, I would say this, that you're right. It's not a once in a lifetime experience, but because the first day I ever walked on not the first day, but I do remember our first night as a freshman class walking to the football facility and having these young white girls in a car drive by and call us niggas. It prepared me for a life that, guess what? Whether to my face or behind my back, that's how some people think. And you got to be able to navigate and thrive beyond it. And I think that saying that we have to, and that's not what you're saying, but I've heard a lot of people that have had this conversation with me. Like, we have to put the onus on these 17 and 18-year-old kids to change the landscape of race in this country by choosing an HBCU is a bit short-sighted and a bit selfish, because being on a college campus like Notre Dame that's predominantly white, and 80% of the less than 2% of black people that were on campus, 80% of that number was made up of the football program. I also feel as though I did a service by being on that campus to let them know that, no, I'm not a dumb black jock. I can go to war with you in the classroom. I can build a network here. I can take this degree and do something with it beyond just the walls of this college campus. And you will remember me for more than the statistical output that I have on the field. You're going to remember me for a difference maker, a leader, a change maker. And so we got to remember that those same athletes also have the opportunity to change people's mindset. They have the opportunity to build a network and get access to capital by being on those campuses as well. So I think that there's room for both. We have so many top athletes, and some of them will choose HBCUs. I think Mikey Williams, Maker, and Bronny James, that fits their narrative. But until the experiences are comparable, let's put it out there. Until some of my same HBCUs put their money where their mouth is, the experience are night and day. And you've been putting in years.
Made enough money. These PWIs have made enough money off of these black bodies to last for generations. Why would it's not our job to teach white people how to treat us. That's not my job. If you were raised in the sticks and you drop M-bombs like they going out of style and you get popped in the mouth and lose your teeth, that's on you. That ain't got shit to do with me. I'm tired of us always having to teach someone, but when we don't know something, we're labeled as stupid. We got all these labels on us, and there's nothing on them. Why are we always using our bodies to make them richer? They don't deserve us. That's why they hate us, because they don't deserve us. We need to reinvest in our schools. Let me tell you something. I could give birth tomorrow, which ain't happening. But let me tell you, if I have a son, you going to Morehouse. Why? Because I fucking said so.
Now, what if that same son, though, let's just, for argument's sake, because we're talking about this combination of sports, Morehouse takes a back seat to no university. Let me put that out there. Morehouse is... You ain't gonna hear me. You're not gonna hear me say nothing bad about Morehouse, nothing bad about Spelman. What if, hypothetically in this case, because I ain't wishing you to get pregnant. That ain't none of my business, but I ain't wishing it.
Hey, Boris.
What if that same child happens to have an opportunity to go anywhere? We talked about Stanford today. We talked about Northwestern. We talked about Notre Dame. And that opportunity is connected to their athletic accomplishments. Are you so certain that you can make such an independent decision away from sports to say, because Morehouse doesn't have the basketball experience that Stanford's going to provide to your child? So are you so certain that you would still make that same decision if that were the case?
Yes, because you know me, I'm a renegade. I'm like, rules, break them shits. I don't care. I like to be the first at everything. I like to be a maverick. You should call me Maverick Maya. That should be my new hashtag name, Maverick Maya. Maya the Maverick.
All right. Oh, that's your second one, Majestic and Maverick. There we go. You heard it here first.
Just because I have seen firsthand what these PWIs do to young Black men and women, how so far disconnected they are to their concerns, their wants, their needs. Yep. Granted, I'm not saying HBCUs are the end all be all, because they do need to work on these motherfucking facilities. It's just like, why is the toilet resting? Like, what, a toilet? You can go to Home Depot and get a toilet for like $50. Like, I need you guys to get the little shit together, work on that. But I just feel as though in this world that we're living in, with all of the odds stacked against us, I do not want my child to feel as though, okay, I graduated from high school, I did what I was supposed to do, bam. Now I got to go out here and educate Becky, Louise.
No,
I just don't want them to have to deal with that. I'm
not saying that.
Deal with that. I want them to see that there's I'm gonna name Moss. Let's use the name Moss. I want Moss to see another Moss. I want him to be surrounded by these intelligent, influential, like game-changing Black men. That's the shit I want for my kid.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what I'm saying is, I completely agree with you. What I'm saying is this, is that I didn't have the sole goal of going to Notre Dame to educate white folk about how to deal with me. I'm saying by being there and being excellent in all that I did, that's right, I'm taking ownership of it, being excellent in all that I did because of all the love poured into me, starting at the earliest ages. Fort Lauderdale Track Club, the Western Tigers football program, the Northwest Boys Club, all the activities and organizations that I was a part of that poured love into me. And then it went on to high school. Because of that, they got to see excellence in a 6'3", 200-pound Black person, Black man.
Man.
And I feel as though that I did a service without necessarily trying to educate, like you said, educate Becky on how to see me more than just an athlete. I did a service by being there. And I think that we have enough athletes to provide opportunities in both scenarios. I just as an adult, I feel a little selfish and a little naive to think that I can require or call upon an 18-year-old to make that sacrifice when there's so many things that need to be done in addition to and outside of athletes making that choice, HBCUs over PWIs. And if HBCUs can create a similar sports experience, because a lot of them have a very comparable academic experience. Morehouse, Spelman, Hampton Howard, and I'll go on. I'm a Bethune guy because my mother went to Bethune. I just think that a lot has to be done to create a comparable experience. And if your son, this hypothetical son, is at the point where every college is lining up to give him or her, let's go potentially a daughter, a scholarship for free, you know how much work has gone into that? They ain't just signing up anybody, you got to have put in a lot of work. And as my sons will attest, because I hope one day they are scholarship athletes, a lot of work goes into it. While everybody else is playing video games, I got them outside. I got them running. I told my son today, you got the day off because he's got a tournament tomorrow. And he looked at me like he was confused because he don't know what a day off is. I was like, you got to stretch, you got to relax today because he looked at me confused because he don't know what a day off is. So if you spent years of developing that craft, developing that skill, and the whole world is ready to give you a scholarship, I just don't think that, no matter how woke we are, I don't think that we can call upon these athletes to make that sacrifice just because we think it's the right thing to do for the Black community. Because that's not their fight to fight. It's ours as the adults.
Yeah, but my thing is this: we're still trying to arrest cops that murdered a Black woman sleeping in her bed. We're not supposed to be having this conversation in 2020. That was supposed to be taken care of, in the 60s, right? At the height of the civil rights movement. Right. 50 years later, we're still dealing with it.
True.
So why? So just because it's, it's on the adults, this is a fight that unfortunately we could do everything we can, but we cannot let our feet off of their necks. They will not. The moment we get comfortable, that's when they start their shit. Look at President Obama. We're going to give you this Black president. And then here come the white people. He's actually biracial because his mom is white. Let me tell you something. You see that Black ass man walking down the street, he Black. He get pulled over, he Black. You give us, quote unquote, you give us a Black president for 8 years and look at the fucking orange pig we got now. We went back 50 fucking years. So we can never let our feet off of their necks.
I agree.
Never, ever. So never.
We agree there. I think there are different ways to get there. I think that as stakeholders in the sports world, the sports business world, because it is a huge, huge business, sports business and entertainment world, because that's what allows them to keep the lights on because it entertains the masses. Mm-hmm. I'm taking the position that as a coach, as a mentor, and as an influencer, my job is to make sure that when that athlete walks on campus, he understands the obligation to focus on his academics, his obligation to focus on more than just being an athlete, his responsibility to not shut up and not just dribble. And simultaneously, there are going to be some top athletes that do make the choice. But I think it's all performative in a certain sense. And I don't want to be that cynical because the NBA is going to change their rules. Mikey Williams will never step on any college campus, most likely. Bronny James will never step foot on any college campus, most likely. So I think that we got to be careful not to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. And I don't think that that's why the conversation is happening. I think it's happening for pure reasons. But at the same time, it's tough for me to put that level of burden on an 18-year-old when in corporate America, people are planting their Black Lives Matter sign and their organizational structure is deplete of Black folk, of decision makers. I just think that, it's tough to put it on the athletes. And so I don't want to conflate the two. But I think the athletes should make their decision based on what's best for them. And HBCU is not best for everybody. Bronny can go anywhere. Not.
At the end of the day, DJ John Quick, shout out to Quick he's a comic book buff. And Spider-Man, like his uncle said, with great, what did he say? With great responsibility becomes great. Yeah, whatever. So basically, all this power, all of these gifts, you have a huge responsibility. No one wants to be responsible at 18. We want to shoot the shit. We want to drink illegally. We want to sneak into clubs and do a whole bunch of shit. But we do not have that privilege. And it is what it is. So is it fair? No. Is it fair that I got to pay more taxes even though I ain't got no kids and shit like that? No, but I have to. So what can I do to rectify or not level the playing field, but to get my future offspring to a position where they're coming in making more money than XYZ because they have the brains, they have the smarts, and they're just better. They don't have to prove themselves. And when we get to that point, or when my kids could actually live to see college and high school because they weren't killed by some fucking renegade cop. That's the basic shit Black people are concerned. White people aren't concerned about that. You know what their concerns are when their kids are teenagers? Oh my God, don't text and drive. We're like, Lord, make sure your hands are out. Make sure your ears are open. Make sure you don't see anything. Make sure you smile. We're worried about basic shit like getting our kids home. They're not worried about that. So to even get them to the point where they can choose where to go to school, I want you to go where you're fucking safe. I want you to go where there are people who actually look like you. Like I said, you're gonna have your Clarence Thomases, you're gonna have your Christian Coopers, but fuck them. They're the minority. We don't care about them.
I'm mad you just put Christian Cooper in the same category as Clarence Thomas.
He needs to be watching Birds or whatever the fuck he do.
We shall see. I just look.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Great power comes great responsibility. I just say this, man. To get to that point where these predominantly white institutions are willing to give you grant and aid for 4 years, maybe 5 years, a lot of work went into it. And my sons, prayerfully, if I make the right investment decisions over the next 3-4 years, my sons could probably go to HBCU and be just fine. I just think that being Morehouse, I just think that being in the trenches and on the front side of some of what I see in the inner city, as a coach in the inner city and Pop Warner football, at 10 years old, some of these parents and grandparents are looking at their kid as, man, that's my ticket out of this situation, because they realize they have an athletically gifted kid, and that's a lot to put it on a 10-year-old. And I think at some point we got to take the burden off of them, because not everybody is Bronny. Not everybody is B. Brown, where if I make the right investment decisions, it doesn't matter if they go to Notre Dame. I love them to go to Notre Dame, but they don't have to. They can go where they want to go.
But that's a different topic, Bobby, because you do have, you have different sects. You have parents that are in situations to put their kids in. The kids could go anywhere and they're good. And then you have some old trifling ass parents who see their kids as meal tickets. I have a problem with that for sure. I'm not applauding the mother who, my baby gonna go pro, get me up out of here. No, get your fucking, look, don't bank on your kid. I'm not banking on any person other than me to take care of me. That, I agree with you, is completely unfair to put that burden on the child. Yeah. However, when you're 17, 18 years old, and there's an opportunity and you're of sound mind, as sound as an 18-year-old could be, and hopefully you had the parental and the family unit to guide you through life to make the right decisions, I want you to say, Mom, I'm going to Morehouse. Baby, let me get that car for you. We may be having flying saucers by then, but let me get that flying saucer for you. We going to Atlanta. I'm only coming in the winter because I don't do the heat, but I love you. Your daddy got you. I got you. If we got to eat Goya beans, wink, wink, for 4 years, we gonna make it happen.
I agree with you on that. We go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I think that's one of the problems with the younger generation under us. We've become so complacent, and at this point, we're good. And then Breonna Taylor was murdered. George Floyd was murdered. All these Black people are being murdered, and it's like, oh shit, we not as good as we thought we were.
Right.
That's the thing. Our children need to be made aware. Is it fair? But they need to be aware of the evils and the ills that are out there, aka the police, aka systemic racism, aka some white folk and some Black ones too.
I agree with you there, and look, a lot of my friends, HBCU grads, who we've had this debate about athletes, and I don't think it'll end here. We shall see what Bronny James decides to do. I agree with you that the awareness, white folk need to be aware. My only feeling is that being on that campus it provided some of that awareness. And when George Floyd was murdered, I got some text messages from what I like to call my white brethren some of my teammates, because they have become allies, because they understand that they can take George Floyd out of that video and insert B. Brown, and they see some of the things that I talked about in those one-on-one conversations after practice when we were talking about experiences. So I just think that there are enough athletes that if you want to go to HBCU, great. I think we have to make the experiences comparable, because when you get to that point, when everyone is offering you, that's essentially what you're doing. You're comparing the opportunities. And so the experiences have to be comparable, and we've got to do more, myself included, to help make those experiences comparable. And then it's not even a second thought. If going to play for North Carolina Central becomes equivalent to going to play for Duke, the experiences are similar, then it's not even a second thought. But we got a long way to get there. And so
Duke has how much more money? How many years of existence?
Right, I agree.
I mean, like, we have to start these institutions because these fucking white people wouldn't even let us in. It's just like, we don't want you to be educated. So we're already 100, 150 years behind the 8 ball.
Right. And sports was an afterthought for HBCUs that were providing an academic experience.
Yes, we wanted to educate
Black
people. We were like, we want to get some sense in your head. It's like, you could play a sport later. We just trying to get you so you can get a functioning damn career so you can actually survive in this shitty world.
But look,
we just don't, I mean, I just have an issue with us meaning Black people. Like, it's like we try to downplay the HBCU experience because we don't have like sprawling campuses and things of that nature.
No, just sports. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just sports, because the buildings and all the stuff that you can't take with you.
I've got some old ass non-functional buildings.
Look, if let's just stick with Morehouse. If Morehouse recruits me to play football, and I take the trip, and I'm seeing the dorm that I'm going to live in.
Oof.
I'm looking at the football facility. I'm looking at the locker room. And then the next day, I get to drive over to Georgia Tech, and I get to compare the two. At 17 years old, don't. And I know we had my Uncle Tom segment, but I'm not calling that 17-year-old Uncle Tom for making that decision, because the experiences are so night and day as of today. To your point, you talked about the mother, the Little League mother and grandmother that's looking at their child as a meal ticket to get out of the situation. I'm not so mad at them, because I look at their living conditions. They've been failed on so many different levels. The school system has failed that mother, grandmother. There's been so many, because of the systemic racism that exists on so many different levels. By the time that mother becomes grandmother and they've got this child or grandson playing football, it is almost a lottery ticket. This is my last chance. And so I have to force myself not to be judgmental, but at the same time, I look at that young child thinking, man, God is both giving you a blessing and a curse with your athletic ability, because people are pulling you in a million different ways. So I look at that child as my job is to communicate with them, to use the game. Don't let it use you, because people are going to use you. And so I'm hesitant to now put another burden on that child, saying, and by the way, you got to make the decision for the people, because Black folk need to be educated among and with and by other Black folk. It's just a whole additional sacrifice that it's tough for me to put on a kid. But Bronny James, by all means, he can make that decision. If, and that's a big if he goes to college, then by all means, Bronny James can make that decision, because it's only a 6 month sacrifice. 6 months.
But this is the thing, like, to see, and I know a couple of the Jaguar moms, and to see you as a Black man, Mr. Thermometer, all these degrees, married to an educated Black woman, like that right there, who's this? Like, they probably don't even see that. Like, you're a unicorn to them. Like, oh shit, like, Yo, this dude, he plays sports. He's got a lottery. He's got this. Just the mere fact that you exist and they see you. My God, like, that's game changing to a lot of young men.
I pray so. I pray so.
And that's why coaching, it's a community. And I think that's what has really destroyed the Black. There's so many things that have just ravaged through the Black community. But just the mere fact that they have Black men, to see a Black man successful, business, whatever it is, gives them hope because they don't see that. And that shouldn't be lost on anyone.
I agree, and that was my response to why I don't necessarily want football to be canceled, but I do want everyone to remain safe. So because just being there on a daily basis, when I show up with a shirt and tie coming from work off that train, first time I did, a kid looked at me like, "Man, you coming from church?" And I explained, "Nah, this is how I dress and go to work every day." And seeing that on a daily basis and knowing that someone that dresses like that to go to work and has a job where you would have to dress up finds them to be so important to sacrifice on a daily basis, it means something. And again, that's why when I hope I'm at the pearly gates, look out for your boy, G.O.D. Look out for your boy. I done showed it a lot wrong, but I'm trying to do a lot right too.
I'm like, if he getting in, shit, I'm next on the list.
I know how it works. I throw events. They be like, at the door, they be like, "Hey, yo, call B Brown. He up in there. B Brown up in there. Yo, call B Brown. Tell B Brown I'm at the gates, man. Tell B Brown I'm at the gates. Get me up in that piece." Look, y'all.
Too big, man. You crowd the dance floor.
I'm trying to plan an excessive celebration up here. Would you please leave me alone? I'm not coming to the gates. Get in on your own. Figure it out.
Back. He's trying to.
Look, y'all. This has been a deep conversation. I love the fact that we can disagree, but also do it in a way that makes sense to both of us. And there's probably a middle ground that we've got to figure out. I do love that the fact that Bronny is potentially deciding to go North Carolina Central or Howard or North Carolina A&T. We can take Duke out of that potential option category. And we talked about a lot of good stuff today, y'all. It's been longer than we normally go because Maya didn't have her workout today, so I figured we'd go a little longer.
I am, so I will be working out.
There it is. You can find us now on YouTube as well. I will try to post that link. We'll see if it works. We'll try to post that link. So we're trying to build it, y'all. So as always, although it's a long broadcast, we ask that you like, we ask that you comment, and we ask that you share. We humbly ask that you like, we ask that you comment, and we ask that you share. That is our way to get more traction, get more circulation, get more viewers, get more eyes, and take this to the level that we think that it can be. With that, do you have any parting words? What's going on in your brain? Any parting words? We'll do the outro after you get your parting words out. Anything, Maya?
The cops that murdered Breonna Taylor need to be arrested.
Yes, indeed. Hold on. That I gotta give that its proper due because you have shared the sentiment of a lot of other folk. And I don't know if you saw it or not, but the Attorney General in Kentucky, who happens to be one of the two Black Republican Attorney Generals, got engaged. He happened to be getting engaged to a white woman, but he had his engagement party on the 4th of July weekend. And man, he got roasted for it. Everyone said, "Why don't you go get Breonna Taylor's murderers instead of having your engagement party to that woman?" So it was interesting to see. But any other parting words? Hold on, you could go back to that one.
I don't know. He gonna produce some Team Light Skin babies. Who knows?
They're gonna be celebrating Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, my birthday is on Wednesday. Don't send no hate, because if you do, I'll reply.
Happy early birthday, Miss Majestic Maya. What was the other adjective? Hold up, majestic and maverick.
I'm a maverick. I'm officially a cougar now. Watch out.
There's a market for that. There is a market for that.
Let me tell you something, Bronny Jr.
Cougar market.
No, let me stop.
They cougar markets. My parting words for today is, look, man, decisions have to be made, and people are going to be upset about those decisions, but you got to do what's best for you. My man, Kenneth Sharpson, what's up, Q? He says the white man's ice is colder. And I do think that there is some of that when people are making the decision. But at the same time, when it comes to those experiences, brother, and he played for Hampton, the white man's ice was a little bit colder. I got to play in front of 100,000 people, and the experience was different. And so until we make the ice cream the same temperature, you can't be mad at those 17-year-old for choosing that ice that is a bit colder for now. For now.
You're going to be dealing with some ice cold hearts too. Because they don't give a shit about you once you come off that playing field.
Hey, and that's the thing. I ain't going to call Sharp. This is not about Sharp, but it's about a lot of my HBCU friends. Y'all working at white institutions. Your firm is white. The company you work for is white.
But then, can't they have another 4 years of a black experience? That'll be the last black experience they have until they go to a cookout.
I'm not putting that on no 18-year-old. If you can go take a job at a white institution, a white firm, a white college with PhDs, some of those historically black college university alums took their PhD and they are working out of white college. If you can do it, don't put that on those 17-year-old, man. We got a whole lot to do.
We're making the assumption that white is going to be right, which is not true.
I don't think that those kids are making an assumption. I think those kids are comparing. They're comparing.
Bobby, the blackest I get is when I'm at a barbecue.
True.
Prior to where I work now, which is an Indian-based company. Hell, most of them darker than me. But anyway, all that being said is I don't have a problem with a young black man or young black woman wanting to extend 4 more years of being around their people of all different walks of life. We may have the same color.
I don't have an issue with it either.
Very diverse experiences.
I don't have an issue with it either. I'm just sick of some of these alum being a bit hypocritical, trying to put that decision on an 18-year-old while you walking in a white shoe firm, pun intended, with a whole bunch of white folk making the decision, and you hoping that they keep giving you their bonuses every year. Is the ice colder or not?
We making the sacrifice so they don't have to put up with the shit that we have to put up with Billy and Bob. And we're going to the golf course this afternoon. You want to be our caddy, Bobby?
I agree. I think that we all are making those sacrifices. But look, we all need to figure out how to make an impact, which on systemic racism, including some of these top athletes that have the leverage. But you're not going to tell me one of my kids out of East Orange that I've been coaching for years, that I've seen both the uncle and the nephew playing on the same team because the grandma is still in her. Look, man, a lot of these kids dealing with a lot. You're not going to tell me that kid needs to make a sacrifice to choose HBCU experience over an opportunity to play at fill in the blank with one of these PWIs. Might be the first time that they that's a lot, man.
I get it. The last thing I'm gonna say about it is this: instead of all us black people trying to figure out racism, how about the white people that benefit off of racism get up off their asses and be active trying to fix it?
We gonna chew gum.
We did.
We gonna walk and chew gum at the same time. Let's go. Keep applying pressure. But I just want to make sure that, because sometimes we get so woke that we are blind to the fact that that's an 18-year-old, y'all. He's 18.
They need to fix it. They're the ones benefiting off of black bodies. It ain't us. You make it so we can't make any money, but you making money off of the backs of all these young black men and women. How about white people stand up to the plate? Why we always gotta, we didn't start it. We're on the short end of the stick, but we gotta fix it. We gotta walk a certain way. We can't sleep in our fucking beds. We can't pull out money. We can't do shit. And they sit back and say, well, you guys gotta fix. I ain't fixing shit.
You make all of those are good points. And my man Sharp, you get the last word. We were fine before they let us in those schools.
Hello.
We were. But now they have let us in those schools. And I would argue that we are sometimes in just as good, if not better position for having been in those schools, because if you want a reason not to hire someone, is that you have nothing in common. Having a Notre Dame degree has put me in a position to speak to certain people in certain rooms that that's the only commonality that we have. And so we're trying to strike up more opportunities for more people that look like us. Now, when I get in this seat, don't be afraid to say things. And I'm saying it not only to the allies and white folk, putting pressure on them, but to our own people. Let's create a similar experience so that 18-year-old who has put in work. Notre Dame just didn't walk up to me and say, "Hey, man, here's a full scholarship, man, because you Betty Brown's child." I put in work for that scholarship.
Notre Dame has how many more centuries or decades more money than the Morehouse?
True. Absolutely true.
Who is donating to these schools?
Absolutely.
The number one donator for HBCUs is the federal government. It's not their alum, it's the federal government. The Notre Dames, the Northwesterns, the Stanfords, the Harvards, the Yales. It's all benefactors. It's all alum who give back. That's
what percentage of, and this is maybe we get into this next week because we already at 2 hours. What percentage of HBCU alum that have been very successful are writing the big checks? And so I'll do that analysis because I just think, and this is humbly, as a 43-year-old man, I can't put that burden on an 18-year-old kid. I can't do that. That doesn't make sense to me because they haven't had enough life experiences to understand what that sacrifice is going to mean. But I think that there are so many systemic racism issues that we need to fix collectively that we can take that burden off the 18-year-old until there's a similar experience. And that's my opinion. Yes, I'm biased because I went to Notre Dame. But at the same time, I think I'm being fair in trying to say where we should invest our energy to change what has been 400 plus years of mistreatment. And I'll leave it there.
Okay.
Anybody with a last comment? Look, we were supposed to put social activism names on our backs instead of our last name, like with the NBA. Give us your suggestions. What would you put? I think I'm going.
I got one.
Once you go black could be HBCUs. It could be, it's a triple entendre. It could be once you go black in terms of HBCUs, you never go black. Go back to the PWI. And
fuck your flag.
all right, y'all. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your girl, Miss Majestic Maya, the Maverick Maya herself. It's your boy, B Brown ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South, aka Mr. Excessive Celebration. For those of you guys in the New Jersey area, don't forget on the 22nd, we're going to try to get some folk together in a safe way to have a good time. We're going to bring the Inkwell to New Jersey. And with that, we are officially out.
Happy birthday to me. No.
Happy birthday, Miss Maya, on the 15th. Cancer season has officially started. Well, it already started, but it's officially in full swing when you celebrate what will be a big birthday by all accounts. Happy, can I say the number? I can say the number.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Happy 40th birthday. Thank you so much for your contributions. And let's continue making this thing do what it do. But happy early birthday.
Thank you. Love you. Mwah.
We out, y'all. Peace.
Bye.